Imagine a place larger than Germany but with fewer people than San Jose, California. A place where winter can freeze your eyelashes shut and your neighbor might be a moose 20 miles away. Welcome to Montana, a state of raw, untouched beauty and brutal, unshakable emptiness. So why does almost nobody live here anymore? Is it the icy silence of isolation, the rising costs in places without a Starbucks, or the vanishing future that's sending young people fleeing for good? Today, we'll uncover 8 powerful reasons this state is quietly emptying out despite its mountains, its rivers, and its postcard charm. Stick around, because the real reasons might surprise you more than the snowfall. Reason number 1, the cold that breaks more than ice. Montana doesn't just get cold, it gets legendary. In parts of eastern Montana, winter temperatures can plummet to negative 50°F. That's colder than Siberia, no exaggeration. Blizzards come without warning. Whiteouts so severe, you can lose your car in your own driveway. Winds in towns like Livingston hit 70 miles per hour. Step outside and you're battling nature itself just to walk your dog. Snow? Red Lodge averages nearly 200 inches per year, that's over 16 feet. Even Missoula and Bozeman routinely get 80 to 100 inches. And it's not just about inconvenience, it's about cost. Keeping warm through a Montana winter isn't cheap. Residents spend $2,500 to $3,000 on heating alone each year. Then, there's the emotional toll. Months of icy roads, frozen pipes, and cabin fever wear you down. Daily life becomes a test of grit, gear, and patience. It's not the kind of cold you brag about. It's the kind that breaks things. Your routines, your plans, sometimes your car battery, sometimes your spirit. Sure, the photos are beautiful. Endless white landscapes, snow-capped peaks, a postcard winter. But living here? That's a whole different story. Most people aren't running from Montana's beauty, they're running from its winters. Because in a state where frostbite is a season, even the toughest people eventually say, beautiful place to visit, but I'm not living here. Reason number 2, hours from everything even help. Montana isn't just rural, it's remote in a way that feels otherworldly. Drive through the state and you'll pass miles of nothing. No gas stations, no towns, no cell service, just sky and silence. The average population density? Only 7.6 people per square mile. That's fewer people than cows, deer, or even elk. Glasgow, Montana has been called the most isolated town in the lower 48. Its nearest city with over 75,000 people? A casual 4.5-hour drive away? That's not a road trip. That's your access to a hospital, airport, or decent grocery store. Break your leg out here? Hope you've got a good blanket and hours to wait. Lose cell service in a blizzard? No one's coming anytime soon. And it's not just emergencies. Need a dentist, a mechanic, a movie theater? You'll likely need to burn half a tank of gas to get there. Public transportation? Forget it. This is car or nothing country. And when that car breaks down on a snow-covered road, you're on your own maybe for hours. Even air travel doesn't help much. Montana has just a handful of commercial airports, and flights are often limited, expensive, and weather-dependent. Living here means trading convenience for quiet, isolation for beauty. For some, that trade feels like peace. For others, it feels like being forgotten. Because in Montana, help isn't just far, it might be too far when it matters most. Reason number 3, the job market that time forgot. Montana may be rich in natural beauty, but that beauty doesn't pay the bills. The state's economy still leans on agriculture, tourism, and mining. Solid, yes, but not exactly thriving in today's high-tech world. You won't find Silicon Valley here, or Wall Street, or a booming media hub. In fact, only about 3% of Montana's jobs are in tech or finance. Compare that to over 10% in places like New York or California. And while the unemployment rate might look low on paper, many people are underemployed juggling part-time or seasonal gigs to survive. The average annual wage? Just around $54,000, well below the national average of $65,000. And yet, rent in cities like Bozeman can cost nearly $2,000 a month. That math doesn't add up for most working people. It's no wonder college grads leave as soon as they can. They head to Denver, Seattle, or anywhere with a career ladder. It's called the brain drain, and Montana has been leaking talent for years. Even those who stay often work jobs that don't match their degrees. Baristas with business diplomas, park rangers with PhDs. Montana is paradise for remote workers with outside income, but for locals trying to build a future here, it can feel like trying to grow a tree in frozen soil. Opportunity is beautiful in theory, but in Montana, it's often just out of reach. Reason number 4. When rural gets too expensive. Montana used to be the dream wide-open land, quiet towns, affordable living. Not anymore. In places like Bozeman and Missoula, prices have exploded. A one-bedroom apartment can now run you nearly $2,000 a month. That's more than Phoenix and Bozeman doesn't even have a Target. Why? Blame the pandemic-era remote work boom. Suddenly, people from California, Texas, and Seattle started moving in fast. They brought big city budgets to small-town housing markets. And the locals? They got priced out. Home values in Bozeman doubled in just 10 years. Wages didn't 10. Even groceries cost more in Montana, nearly 10% above the national average. Why? Long supply chains, sparse stores, and not much competition. Utilities, gas, even internet, more expensive than you'd expect in a place with more cows than people. For longtime residents, it's a bitter twist. They watched their quiet towns become lifestyle destinations, then realized they could no longer afford to stay. Montana might still look rural, but in too many places, it's become a luxury zip code in disguise. Reason number 5, where the young never return. Montana raises them, then watches them leave. Over 60% of young adults pack up and move out within 5 years of graduating high school. And most never come back. Why? It's not just about jobs, though. Those are scarce. It's about the full package: opportunity, affordability, and a social life. Many small towns offer none of the above. No career ladders, no nightlife, no affordable housing in the places young people actually want to live. Even Bozeman, the cool Montana city, has rent pushing $1,800, yet the average entry-level salary might hover around $42,000. So young Montanans head to Denver, Seattle, Austin, anywhere with more life and more options. It's called youth out-migration, and it's quietly reshaping the state. With fewer young workers, towns shrink. Schools close classrooms. And the average age rises, year after year. In some rural counties, the median age is over 50. That means fewer kids, more retirees, and entire communities on the edge of fading out. It's not that young people don't love Montana. They just can't build a life there, not the one they dream of. And until that changes, the exodus will continue. Reason number 6, too wild to settle. Montana is breathtaking and brutal. Towering mountain ranges, endless forests, pristine lakes, and terrain that doesn't care if you're trying to build a life. This land was made for wildlife, not subdivisions. Avalanches can block entire highways. Flash blizzards roll in without warning. And yes, grizzly bears still roam free near some backyards. Over 40% of Montana is public land. That's amazing for hikers, but not for developers, farmers, or families looking for a place to settle. Even the soil fights back. Eastern Montana is dry, dusty, and often drought-stricken. Irrigation costs are high, and the wind? So fierce it can knock over fences and make farming feel like a gamble. Transportation doesn't help. There's just one major interstate, I-90, cutting across the state. The rest? Rural roads, many unpaved, that can become impassable in winter or spring. So when people say Montana is wild, they mean it. It's not just about nature being untouched, it's about nature refusing to be tamed. For the adventurous, it's paradise. For the rest, it's a daily challenge. And for many would-be residents, it's a deal-breaker. Reason number 7, living like it's 1985. Living in Montana can feel like stepping into a time machine, but not in a charming way. Sure, there's fresh air and stunning views, but there's also no Uber, no high-speed internet, and the nearest hospital or grocery store, possibly 2 hours away. Montana ranks near the bottom in doctor availability. Just 198 physicians per 100,000 people. That means longer wait times and fewer specialists if you can even reach them. Schools are shrinking. Some districts have moved to 4-day weeks, not for flexibility, but because they can't find teachers. Small towns often have just one school K through 12 and limited resources. And then there's the internet. Nearly 1 in 4 Montanans street ill lack access to reliable broadband in 2025. That's not just inconvenient, it's a deal breaker for remote workers, students, and even basic entertainment. Add to that outdated roads, few public transport options, and limited services in rural areas. It's not that Montana is behind, it's that it's been left behind. Some find the slower pace refreshing. Others find it frustrating, isolating, and unsustainable. And as more of life moves online, Montana risks falling even further off the grid. Reason number 8, a ghost town legacy. To understand why Montana feels so empty today, you have to look at how it was built. Unlike other states that grew around ports, factories, or major cities, Montana's growth came from railroads, mining camps, and land grants. In the 1800s, the government gave settlers up to 160 acres if they promised to farm it, so people scattered building isolated ranches and tiny frontier towns, not dense neighborhoods. Not vibrant cities. That layout never really changed. Today, Montana still has only one city, with more than 100,000 people, Billings. Even the capital, Helena, has barely 33,000 residents. Meanwhile, dozens of once thriving towns have faded into ghost towns, crumbling storefronts, empty main streets, and signs showing populations in the double digits. As the railroad era ended and farming became more mechanized, these towns lost relevance in people. New industries never came to replace the old ones, and because everything was so spread out to begin with, modern infrastructure never filled the gaps. Montana's history is written in distance and silence, and that legacy still shapes its present. Beautiful? Absolutely. But for many, it feels like a state that was never meant to be full. Montana is one of the most stunning places in America, but beauty isn't always enough to build a life. Harsh winters, endless distances, rising costs, and vanishing opportunities have pushed many people away and kept others from coming in the first place. It's a state where you might have more elk than neighbors, where the view from your porch is priceless, but the drive to a grocery store costs you half a tank. For some, that's the dream. For others, it's simply too much. The truth is, Montana was never designed to be crowded. Its past shaped an empty present, and its future may stay that way. But maybe that's the point. Some places aren't meant to be filled. They're meant to be wild, to breathe. And if you've ever stood under a Montana sky, you know emptiness isn't always a bad thing. Let us know in the comments. Could you live here? Would you? And if you enjoyed this deep dive, check out the rest of our state's Nobody Lives In series, where we explore the forgotten corners of North America and what really drives people away. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next stop. Thanks for watching.